Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to my review of A Ghost Story, which is a movie that came out earlier this year. It's directed by David Lowery, and it stars Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara. So since I haven't been doing movie reviews on my channel for that long now, I thought it would be best to start with some movies that I really like. And even though this is a new movie, I really like it. I've seen it 3 times already. I think this is one of the best movies I've ever seen personally, and one of the most unique and impactful movies that I've seen. So this movie is sort of hard to talk about without spoiling it, so I'm gonna say like minor spoiler warning because it's sort of hard to even say what it is without getting into a bit of spoilers. I'll try to not spoil it too much, or if I do, I'll give you a warning before then, because this is a great movie that I recommend you see, so I wouldn't want to just ruin all of it. Anyways, this is a drama movie. It's not a horror movie, even though it's about a ghost. The premise of the movie is there is a young couple played by Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara, and Casey Affleck's character dies, and then he becomes a ghost. He is literally a ghost in a sheet. That's what he looks like. That's the costume, which you might think would look like too silly and cheesy for an actual movie, but it really doesn't. After like the first few scenes of watching it, you get used to it, and the way the movie is made, it sort of just fits somehow and all makes sense. The movie is shot in a narrow aspect ratio with the edges sort of like rounded off. I don't know exactly what that's called, and many of the shots in the movie are really long takes, like really long takes. There's one that is, I think, like 5 minutes long, maybe even longer, and this is certainly a strange movie. There is something about the way this movie is filmed and how they use the ghost costume that makes it feel sort of more intimate, I guess, but it feels very like personal and down to earth. This is an indie movie, and, you know, it's very not big Hollywood blockbuster in any way, which I think really works to tell this story of a man who dies and then sees the world after his death. Well, pretty much his house after his death, and what happens after he's gone, and he, you know, watches his wife and other things that unfold in that place. And this movie, gosh, I'm probably not doing a good job of telling you why you should watch it. This movie is about the nature of time, and the fact that all of our lives are being lived within a very limited amount of time, and really, like, any one of us could die at any moment. And it explores a lot of like existential philosophy and whatnot, but like I said, I think it really helps that it does it presented in that very down-to-earth way. And since this movie is about the nature of time and existence and the meaning of life, or the lack of meaning to life, I guess you could say, that is why the filmmaker or filmmakers, I don't know who chose to do it, but that is why they chose to have so many extremely long takes. It's focused on showing just everyday life in real time at certain points. And is it boring? I'm sure to some people this movie will be insanely boring and something they can't bear to watch, but once you really get into what this movie is, it isn't really all that boring, even though the scenes go on for an extremely long period of time, at times with very little necessarily happening in the scene. This movie, it's very like meditative on time and life, and a lot of what I'm saying probably sounds really pretentious, but trust me, it works in the movie. But there is one scene where I felt it kind of didn't work. It's my only flaw with the movie, which is a bit of spoilers. I don't know what counts as a major or minor spoiler necessarily in this movie. If you want to go in blind, I guess. Don't watch further, but I'll try not to spoil anything too major. My only problem with the movie is there's a scene where there is a party in the house, and this one, like, stoner philosopher type character is talking to people at a party about the nature of time and basically the themes of the movie, how everything is finite, not just our lives, but like the whole universe, and at some point, nobody will be remembered.
We build our legacy piece by piece, and maybe the whole world will remember you, or maybe just a couple of people, but you do what you can to make sure you're still around after you're gone.
And in one way, I get the scene. I get why it's there. It does sort of add to you thinking about and pondering these things as you're watching it. But for me, I think it's a little bit too much telling and not showing. That's something that really, like, in a movie or any sort of story, you want to show what you're trying to get across to your audience instead of just, telling them it. And that was a scene where it really felt like they were just telling it, when the rest of the movie, they were doing a very good job of showing it. That being said, I don't know if the movie would work as well if that scene was just taken out, or what could have been put in the movie in place of that scene, or how they might have moved it around. So I don't really have a good solution. I think the movie's fine with it in the movie. Like I said, it's still one of the best movies I've ever seen, I think, even though it does have this one flaw that I don't think it's a major flaw. I think it's a minor flaw. But yeah, the soundtrack is really great as well.
All the awful dreams felt real enough.
And there is just this really, like, personal, intimate sadness that you feel throughout the movie. I titled this, Why It Gives Me Crippling Depression. And it kind of does, but the way I see it, there's a positive side to this movie as well. It's not just negative. A large portion of the plot, after Casey Affleck's character dies and is a ghost, has to do with him hanging on to something. And it's not made entirely clear what that is. It's sort of left up for you to figure it out on your own, but there is sort of a message of, because our lives are, in the grand scheme of everything, so short, we shouldn't get hung up on, like, these little things and, I don't know, I guess live more freely or something like that, But yeah, this movie, after the first time that I watched it, I just laid in bed and just thought about my life for quite some time. And yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing to think about, the subject matter in this movie, thinking about the fact that your life is finite, and I'm already 19 years old, pretty much 2 decades into my life. I probably have, I don't know, if I'm lucky, 6 decades left, maybe a bit more, maybe less, I don't know. But this movie really gets in your head. It makes you think, like, am I living my life right? Am I spending my time how I want to? Anyways, I'm sort of rambling on now, but the point is, this is a great movie because it's sort of like a wake-up call to the fact that your time is so limited and you should figure out how best to spend it before you die. Yeah. Hello?
May I speak to Madman's knowledge?
Well, actually, my name is Zach, but my YouTube channel is called Madman's Knowledge. I don't really go by it. It's more like
I am here to make you a proposition.
Okay. Who is this?
I can give you what you want most. I only ask for one humble thing.
Excuse me?
Your soul.
Is this a limited time offer?
I suppose.
Listen, buddy, you must have the wrong number. I actually haven't seen this phone that I'm talking to on, like, at all before today.
Your soul would be a fine addition to my collection.
I don't know whether to be scared or amused, honestly. My soul is not for sale, no matter what you're offering, weirdo.
I think your soul is a small price, considering you've been at this for how long? 5 years?
How do you know that?
I know everything. You're a small YouTuber, but you want to grow. I can help you.
By acquiring my soul.
I have seen many things about you. 5 years from now, you end this. You go back to college. You give up. You are not successful, but together, we can change the future. Give your finite mortality a meaning.